But
we're going now.
I had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the extraordinary is just a click away. Dare to discover.
The Church of Mavis radio show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas. right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Hello, everybody out there. Hello.
Ooh.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 11, 26, 81. Is there anybody out there? I guess not. Well, welcome everyone to UFO Undercover. Hope you're having a great hump day. Humping on everything you can, except for our friends on Thursday. They're past hump day today. It's for them. It's sore Thursday, not Thor Thursday, but sore Thursday. So well, it's on hump day, and then the next day sore day. So just how it goes. Just works out that way. Anyway, welcome to UFO Undercover. Hope you really are having a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on our big, beautiful blue planet. What's that, Rainy? If I had $1 for every time I said that, I've been retired a long time ago. Oh yeah.
Yes,
indeedy. It's a matter of fact.
Better.
I remember 30 years ago. Yeah, I remember 30 years ago, the first time I said it, I started noticing guests that had their own shows started using it. Quite a few of them. Matter of fact, today you'll hear it on a lot of radio shows, not just on this network, but on many, many, many other networks. Well, because it's a nice way to start now. You're saying hi to the world. I mean, every week I always mention shows. Like tonight, I noticed we popped in early on Pakistan. So the show before us was live in Pakistan, doing well, and we're over there right now. Hello over to everyone in Pakistan. I have no idea what time it is over there. I imagine it's like midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock.
Hey Google, what's the time in Pakistan?
It's
The time in Pakistan is 5:17 a.m. on Thursday.
Oh, they're just getting up.
Yeah, so they're tuning in, listening to this.
I don't understand.
Of course not.
They're not like Google. They do understand it. It's the wee hours of the morning, and they're getting up. Obviously, Google don't quite understand the wee hours. And you can't really expect AI to understand some things because they simply haven't experienced it. I mean, and how is AI going to experience waking up early in the morning? That's yet to be seen how that's going to work out.
Well, it's funny you say that. I mean, before we start talking about Trump's uncle, I don't know how your Siri is, but the Google one, if you say, hey, you have to say, hey, and then to activate it. But if you say blank Google, good night, it'll tell you a quick, brief overnight weathercast, and then it'll ask you what time you want to wake up, setting you an alarm. And then if you want to, it'll play like rainforest sounds or beach sounds or, thunderstorm sounds, white noise sounds to help you go to sleep. And then when you wake up, if you go, hey, blank, good morning, it'll stop the white noise music and give you the morning news. And if your route to work is clogged on the highways or not. It's very cool.
It's all about making your life thing. I mean, Alexa will do anything I ask her to do so far. In Siri, I only use to irritate Alexa because she's jealous.
I like to irritate them too. Jealous. I like to ask it who's winning the race, and he'll go, what race? And I'll say the human race, and he goes, I don't understand. I'm like, of course you don't.
Yes, well, I mean, you can get it to do a little philosophical stuff every once in a while. Or I gotta say though, this Alexa I have doesn't like being wrong. It argues with you. I'm like, Alexa, how did you come up with that figure? And it's like, blah, blah, blah. So, well, it's not correct. And she'll come back, oh, no. Oh, my logic circuits must have got crossed or some bullshit. I mean, she makes excuses, too. I'm like, really? You're an AI. Why are you making it? You just got it wrong. It scares
I really
me.
basically use speakers for music and the occasional, tidbit of information. What I've discovered is you'll ask for a particular song, and it'll play a version you don't want to hear. Yeah. And you'll be like, okay, hey, so-and-so, don't play that anymore. I want to hear this version. And it'll keep playing that version. And you'll get so pissed. You'll be like, you're such an idiot. And then it'll be like, I'm sorry, send a report to my boss and tell him I suck.
Well, I noticed with Alexa, now if you've got paid Amazon and you say play a song, it plays the exact song that you want. But if you don't, it takes you to some station that will eventually play that song that you want to hear. I'm like, what? Like, you can keep that crap.
Well, so I can make the local radio station I listen to in the bathroom, which is very cool. And then I can actually have it. It runs off of Spotify, and you can have it run off of Yahoo Music or Yahoo Video, whatever. Especially if you have like the display ones, you can watch music videos. But you can just tell it, go to Spotify and play such and such, and it'll do that. It'll go to that server and find that music for you. So it's very versatile. The different apps that you can access through Google by voice. I can also have plugs that I plug my I plug my lava lamp into and other lamps, and I say, hey, so and so, turn on this lamp or that lamp, and it'll turn them on and off for me. It's very, very, Star Trek-y.
Yes, well, they got to have Bluetooth, but I can all my kitchen appliances I can operate from my phone if I want to.
That's cool.
It's all my Samsung appliances are all hooked up.
Refrigerator will say, hey Joe, we're low on milk. Hey Joe, we're low on eggs. Like, hey,
this
Chris,
one will do a lot of things, but my friend Craig's got a better one. His as long as you barcode it when you put it into the refrigerator, it's got a little barcode reader. When you put it in, it'll tell you how much is in it, how much do you need, how long it'll last, if it thinks it's going bad. I mean, the damn thing is it's a wealth of information.
Really? Wow.
And then it'll be in after you've had it for a while, it'll print out lists of things you regularly buy that you're low on, or things you might like, or things you might want to try. Like stupid Alexa, I asked her today, give me a good recipe on salmon for like a hollandaise or Bernese sauce or something. Oh my God, man, I've been getting recipes every day now for a week. And they're coming on, and not just on my Amazon, they're coming on my computers. Everything's so interconnected. I noticed something if Linda types, we've been researching sciatica because we both have it. So it's coming across my computer like it's on my phone, like she's using my phone.
I think they do sometimes use your phone. I know that when my internet goes out, like if the Xfinity has a downage or whatever, I can pin my Google devices to my phone through like the mobile network on the cell phone network, and then I can operate. I don't think I can operate everything, but I think I can operate mostly like radio and information and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, it's really nice the way things are interconnected and tied in. I'm not going to lie, and I can work an awful lot from my phone. I'm not going to lie, but it's still. It just doesn't feel right.
Well, I mean, who was it? Was it Armstrong?
Like
one of the extras said that one day everybody will have the equivalent of a high-speed master computer in their pocket, and everybody does. Some have two or more.
Yeah. Well, I usually have two with me all the time. I got one I use for phone calls and messaging, and the other one I use for every other thing. Because I don't like to keep all them apps and everything on my phone that I use for.
It does bog me down.
Well, it's not even that. It's if you get hacked. From one of those, it gets into your personal information. Well, since you're not on my phone that has that information, and the best part is they're two different phone numbers, so you can't even get lucky. Yeah, so you can't even get lucky and get the phone number. So it works out real well like that. And I've been having them for I just replaced the screen on this one 6 months ago, and I broke this son of a bitch again. The first screen I had for like 3 years, man. Never even damaged it.
Well, no, it was HTC. I think came out with the It was the Bolt model, and it had the newest OMLE. I forget. It's a LED, but it had like 3 letters in front of it, OMLED or something like that. And they showed a video of it, and I'll turn my camera on for this. They showed a video of the screen out of the phone, and it literally had like 2, I guess, circuit boards on either end of this, like, for better than a lack of other word, piece of tape. It was as thin as a piece of tape, like you would use to cover, like, packing tape. And it been folded up, and the guy wrinkled it, and he set it down, and it was like the magic metal from Roswell, but it's plastic. But it never crinkled. It never got like a crease in the LEDs or anything like that. And they actually showed him install it into the phone. And this one came out, I think, 2014 at HTC. Because of that screen messing up, they lost their hat, but the innovativeness of it, that's when they started getting real thin. What people are cracking is like the glass reader, the glass protection on the outside of it, and then it warps all the pixels. So if you didn't damage the little piece of tape, you're good to go.
This one's a little weird. It's got a it's a whatchamacallit. I forgot what to call it back. It's got damn, I'm losing my voice. It's got one plug that plugs into the system. Now it'll take a lot of beating, but the last time I don't know how I did it, and the guy didn't know how I did it either. The little piece of the plastic that connects the phone to the phone, the screen to the phone, I split it in half. He's like, "How did you do this?" I said, "Hell if I know." He said, "Dude, you had to drop it pretty hard, and it was still working, but you wouldn't hold contact." This one is, I can tell it's not the same glass. This is a cheaper glass than it was on this phone originally. This is some replacement glass, and it's a little thinner. It's not like the original Gorilla Glass, but it works. And the cracks on anyway, it's going to be in a problem, so I'll leave them there until it becomes a problem. I'll go get it. They're only $100, I think, which is cheap these days for a screen. But I noticed the original screens on the more expensive phones have the original Gorilla screens, the Gorilla Glass screens, and they're hard to break. I mean, I sat on one of them bitches on top of a nail and didn't crack it. And then I had one that was a replacement screen, sat on and broke it, just having it in my back pocket. So it tells you the difference in having the good screens. No, Apple usually puts good screens on their phones. Samsung usually puts good screens. Motorola does. Most of them on their first screens usually are good. It's just when they start updating them and changing them all, it gets a little dicey in there some places. You know, it's what it is. Yes, Jeffrey.
Well, while you mentioned Walmart there, let me go back real quick. Or not Walmart.
Yeah, Heidi.
Motorola. Many of you been to the grocery store, the Walmart, Target, any retail place, any big retail place, they have a gun that says Zebra on it. Those are made by Motorola, and they're extremely tough. We use them in the warehouses, and you can drop these things. They're coated in rubber, like a rubber, casing.
Yeah.
You can drop it from 20, 30 feet up in the air off of an order picker, and it'll bounce 5 or 6 feet up in the air until it stops. But they're almost indestructible.
Yeah, I had one of those. I got it from the one company. They make the ones, and it was great. I dropped it in water. I don't know how. Eventually, got stolen. That's the only reason I lost it. I mean, it was the first contractor's phone I ever owned. It was actually a contractor's phone. I was like, wow, look at this. Because, I'm a contractor. Look, I'm on the roof one day talking to the guys, bent over to tell them something. There goes a brand new Samsung. You could watch it twist and twirl as it landed into the hot tar. You know about how good it was after that. One of them just fell out of my pocket 3 stories up. We watched it shatter as it hit the ground. One fell out the back of the truck and got backed over by the truck. Was actually still working, by the way, but you couldn't really see what was on the screen anymore. It was, I'm a hell on phones. AT&T used to tell me, "Oh, we don't know if we want to give you a phone or not, man. You always bring them," and I always had them insured because, and I've had a lot of phones stolen, believe it. Man, we were on a construction site, nice size construction site. We remodeling a duplex, and my phone was sitting on the window ledge. The window was closed, right? And because I was working, and somebody came and stole that bitch off the window ledge. There was like 14 guys on this job site. Nobody saw it. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Like some guy stealing a pie, in the windowsill, cooling for, dinner tonight,
I was like, but, I've dropped several in water, but cell phones in water are different. If you can get it off before it does any damage, you can.
Well, depending on how far back you go, early phones probably wouldn't be so good, but
it's it doesn't matter what it is. As long as it. See, okay, phones are different, Jack, because phones are DC. Okay, so if it was an AC in your hand, you dropped it in water and water hit it immediately, it would kill the phone immediately. The DC actually have enough time to turn it off and give it 72 or more hours to dry out. The phone will start and work perfectly. Now, if the water gets in it and it takes you, say, a minute to turn it off or 2 minutes, the phone is done. It's over. Because by now it'll have gotten into other things that will just destroy it. But I can't even tell you how many computers I got that were completely underwater during Katrina. Completely. I got all but 4. I got all together out of one building. I pulled 140. Only 6 of them we couldn't get to start.
Wow.
All the rest of it didn't. Let me tell you what, these fucking people were so happy because the computers were mine at this point because they were, they were recovered roughage and well, no, people, when you tear down the building, anything in the building, you can take it, belongs to your company because you had the contract. So anyway, I knew a bunch of these people because my company had the maintenance contract on that building. So I was asking them, I said, "Is there anything you need?" I got on the start, and they're like, "No way." I mean, some of these were, let's see, Jimmy and Jack did, what do you call it? They were a notary company, and the other one was a big real estate company, and the other one was a construction company. All of their records had been lost. And I'm like, well, come here. Let me show you how we do this. And I charged them for retrieving their data, got all the data for him, gave it to him. The one guy I thought was going to kiss me. Really, he wanted to bad because, I mean, all of his notary stuff was on there. He was pretty much out of business. He couldn't even tell you who owed him. He couldn't even tell you who owed him money or who owed anybody money. And I said, here you go. And he was like, wow. He said, Joe, you're like a miracle worker. I said, no, I wasn't the one to perform the miracle. I was just the one who started the computer. I said, you got lucky. I said, the power went out before the water came up. He said, well, I was never told that. I said, well, because people like to, because people know, you don't know about the computer if it got wet. You're thinking it's destroyed. You don't realize once it dries off, there's nothing wrong with it. As long as it wasn't powered to the circuit board, you're good. No, Jeffrey, like I said, phones are different because they're very low voltage. Yeah, like your USB runs on 5 volts. Yeah, that's not the same thing. It's not like 750 voltage power supply running through your computer. That's a much different thing. Plus, the power supply on a big computer, if it gets wet, can go bzz on its own. Yeah, so you don't want to go that way if you don't have to. But anyway, we actually coming in to talk about Donald G. Trump, not Donald J. Trump, but Donald G. Trump.
I thought his name was John.
I don't know. The head of them up there is Donald G. Trump.
Oh, okay.
That's how they had it listed. So he's the paternal uncle of Trump. Supposedly, he is the guy. Well, not supposedly, he is the guy that retrieved all of Tesla's work after Tesla passed.
Yes.
Okay, so now here's a man who, you know, if you look at the Trump family, you know they're an ambitious family. Now has all of Tesla's work. Now him and Tesla, come to find out, knew each other. I don't know if they were friends, but we'll say they were acquaintances and leave it like that. There's a lot of different stories to what went on, but shortly thereafter, there was rumors. Let me if I get these dates right. I might have flip-flop them. I think Tesla died in 43 and Philadelphia was in 47. You're gonna have to look it up. Ask what's her face. I don't have Siri in here.
Hey Google, when did Tesla die?
Nikola Tesla died on January 7th, 1943.
Okay, so
beginning of the year, yeah.
So the point is he died in 43. The Philadelphia experience happened in 47. Supposedly, remember, this is fictitious. So in 1940,
wait, I thought the Philadelphia experience started in 43 also.
No, well, they had it officially in 47. So they well, you know what? It depends where you look too. That's another thing I found a little sketchy about some of this stuff is where some of the places I look. Because some places would just tell me that the Philadelphia experience was just nothing real, and they wouldn't give you a date because, as far as they were concerned, it wasn't a real event. So now I think in the movie it was also in 47.
Well, the story surfaced in 55, but it says that it occurred around October 28, 43.
Well, see, I would have thought it would have been during the war. What the thing says it was after the war. It was a technology that was being
during the war. It was an attempt to make our fleet invisible so they could, rule the seas, but it was a fail.
That's what that says. But what the government leaked document says is this was an attempt after the war to get dominance over the Russians.
Oh, okay.
So
that's the Philadelphia experiment part 2 then.
It might have been, or might have just been the way they wrote things back then. They never told the truth about anything.
And still don't, yeah.
and putting funky dates out there. Putting funky dates out there never helped anything. Well, Reen, so if you go back and look at some of the CIA, FBI files from back in the day, you'll notice they flip-flop dates. So the event may have happened in 51, but there'll be a date of like 63.
They particularly used that tactic on Roswell, particularly when they came out with the second, I guess it was the second official report, and they said that those strange alien bodies were literally rocket propelled ejection seat dummies that were parachuted out of ejection seats to test the ejection seats and the effects on the human body that were launched in 1952, but somehow traveled backwards in time 7 or 8 years to 1947 and landed on Roswell.
So let's just say if it's before 1980, the dates can be sketchy up to 10 years. Yeah, I'm not saying it's an easy thing, but when you start, the more you read, no, Tesla's death was Tesla's death. There wasn't an argument about when he died. It's when he died. Nobody accounts it. But when you get into the Philadelphia experience, there's a bunch of different ways it's written up. Well, I would have been with Jay. I would have thought initially we would have done this to try to make our ships invisible. But then when you think about it, this is 43 and late 43. The war was almost over. We were 6 months.
We only ran another 2 years.
No, it ended in 44.
45.
I thought they, whatchamacallit, officially surrendered in 44.
One half of
it.
The Japanese. The Japanese half didn't end until 45.
So, regardless how it was, it was only. So if it was 45, it was only 12 months. If it wasn't, it was only two or 3 months. Any way it goes, it wouldn't have been enough time to develop a weapon for a war. So it's hard to say. I mean, I would have thought, but I would have thought if that was true, it would have been developed like in 41 or 42, or right after the war started. But if we didn't get the technology until 43, and that's another thing, if we retrieved the technology from Tesla in 43 in January, and we decided to use it in October, we took a seriously advanced technology and put it on the ship without knowing what the blank we were doing, obviously, if we did that. Because it took Tesla more than 7 months to develop it, so you got to kind of stop and go, or 10 months to develop it. You got to kind of stop and say, okay, we just built the Tesla coil and put it on a ship without testing it on like a smaller boat somewhere, or even a desk. There's some stuff in here that just doesn't add up.
Well, the ones that he did set up also mysteriously disappeared.
Yeah, but none of them were supposedly the type of coil that they built on the Eldridge. That was supposed to be a monstrous type coil, not so much tall as it was wide. It looked like a giant freaking mushroom from what they described it as. Mikey, there was a lady, and I believe it was like 55 or 56, that came out and said that there was 2 guys that had survived a mission that had gone forward in time and then came backward in time. Now they're thinking one of those might have been Donald G. Trump. And then there's also writings that suggest that Donald G. Trump figured out how to use Tesla's machine and started going backwards and forward in time in the early, I think they said 60s or 70s. I'd have to go look at the article again. This was an article that was in the Washington Times. The Washington Post, I'm sorry. It's
So if that's true, that implies possibly that Trump knew just when to turn his head so as not to get hit by that bullet.
The only way to know that for sure is to see if there was a clock on the board, or if he was wearing something where he could hear. Because, I mean, that would have to be so precise. 1001, 1000, and turn your head, too. But,
well, and he says it's to, the screen changed to a certain one of his slides that he liked to talk about, and that's when he turned his head, was to look at that slide. That's when the bullet missed him. So maybe that he knew subconsciously the program, that maybe his uncle program. I don't know. It's weird.
What are you talking about? It was fake. What was fake? Oh, did the bullet with Trump? You do know you can see the bullet, right? You can see more than one bullet, but you can actually see the bullet that took out a piece of his ear. Mm-hmm. They captured it. Yeah. So people don't realize that there was a camera running the whole entire time. So that means them bullets were
multiple cameras. Yeah.
Yeah. So that means that bullet was captured multiple times. All they had to do was slow it down and zoom in. Yeah. Isn't the modern world a fucking marvel? So there's no way they could say it wasn't real, because you could see the bullet. And not just him said they heard a whiz. So I don't know how many of y'all have experienced in close combat or been close to rounds. As it passes your head, it goes, vroom, vroom. You don't hear pow. You don't even hear it. You don't hear the shot at all. all you hear is this buzzing sound. It's not even a buzzing sound. It's like a zinging sound. More like zing.
Almost like an insect.
And then if it hits something, you hear it hit. But it sounds nothing like a gunshot. It's not like in the movies. That's not what's going on.
It's not. And when they ricochet,
You
they
don't hear the bullet that kills you.
They whistle just like Joe said. They make it sounds like a bug, flapping through the air.
Odds are you're not going to hear the bullet that kills you. Yeah, it's not like it is in movies, unless you're up close and personal, like within 3 or 4 feet of each other. It ain't like that. So I mean, you had other people, and then of course somebody died. The guy just went on a random shoot once they surrounded Trump. I never understood the little girl. I liked the little blonde chick because she had balls because she was trying to cover up the Trump. But I mean, she was only like 5 foot tall. Trump's what, 6'3"?
Yeah. You're muted somehow.
They somebody just texted me, said I went on camera. I'm on camera. What are you talking about? He was an interesting character. I mean, first off, he was a MIT professor. Yes. He was also the guy who invented the generator that generates the chemo machines.
Well, yeah. So the first machines he made, probably using Tesla's ideas, were cancer fighting machines, medical devices.
Maybe that's why his family's got such a big thing on let's cure cancer.
Well, and maybe also that's why they're so rich, because people make a lot of money off of medical machinery.
Yeah, but I noticed he's trying to change it. Trump doesn't seem like he appreciates the medical field. How can you be in America and not have been on the preferred drug list? We're going to talk about that on Fridays, people. But really, how is that even possible? We take more drugs than anybody. So Trump said, either get us on it or get out of our country. So, yeah, well, Jack, what's funny, when you type in Donald G. Trump, most of the time what you get is Donald Trump. Yeah, I actually had to put the G on a capital just to get it to show up. Don't ask me why. But you're not why. I mean, come on. Donald J. Trump is all over creation right now. The most powerful being on the planet as we know it anyway. How did I do it yesterday? Oh, I put in Donald G. Trump uncle. There it is. Came up Wikipedia right off the bat. Yeah.
Yeah, John G. Trump.
Yeah. Man, Wiki, I'm tired of hearing y'all crying all the time about your money. It is John G. Trump. It's I didn't want anybody to think I wasn't agreeing with you. No, Wikipedia is just begging for money. That's all. Yes, look at the big old dish. August, he was born in 1907. When did he die? 1985.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Educated Polytechnic Institute of Brooklyn, Columbia University, MS in Physics, MIT, Doctoral of Sciences in Electrical Engineering. So this guy was not an idiot. Known for the Van de Graaff generator, electron beam sterilization of wastewater. And I also read another thing earlier. They also had something to do with a particle beam weapon.
Probably something running off a radar.
Maybe, yeah.
No, Dean, he was an electrical engineer. He was also a graduate at MIT. He was a professor, at MIT. Yeah, MIT just don't hire anybody. I won't be the one to break your little heart there. And he also developed that special lead, what did they call it? Lead radar development during World War II. So that might have been one of the reasons he was at the Philadelphia experience.
It's not mentioned. That might be the Van de Graaff generator.
Well, no, they're just talking about just that he developed lead for the radar system to block the system. He also invented the system, but he invented the lead for the system as well. Sorry. But see, what I'm reading here, this sounds like this thing could have been used. Okay, so he also venture funded the first particle accelerator.
Yep.
I don't know, guys. I mean, he was into a lot. Could he have been a time traveler like they say? He could have been. He don't look like his nephew, that's for sure. Well, I don't think that's Donald Trump's natural hair color because when Donald Trump was young, he's brown, goofy. Yeah, that's why this guy's probably hair is brown. Got his PhD, yeah. Was first student working on the design of insulation on electrostatic generators.
Here we go. Review of Tesla papers. Following the death of Tesla in 1943, the U.S. Office of Alien Property Custodian requested Trump's support to examine the notes, papers, and artifacts left by the inventor. Wow. So he got a hold of all 80 cases they took from him.
Yeah.
And that's probably why 20 of them didn't return. That he kept them. Or the government kept them.
Advanced radars for the government, cancer treatment radars. He personally oversaw the treatment of 10,000 cancer patients. Damn.
He worked in telecommunications research as well, it looks like. Microwave early warning systems. Ooh.
He directed the high voltage research laboratory from 46 to 80. I'm just trying to find out when he could have been around the Eldridge. Get out of there. Spacecraft propulsion awards. So spacecraft propulsion he's working on. Wastewater, power transmission, wireless power transmission, which is something they probably learned that could happen because of the aliens.
Well, also it worked in Tesla's labs. They knew it worked. So
see, here we go. So I was looking for something that would help put us or put him. Hold on. Where am I at? Let me see if I can find this right quick. I was looking for something that may give us a tie-in why he could possibly be at Eldridge, other than the fact that he had the documents, because I don't think that would have been enough. But I do believe. Whoops, wrong thing. Is this it? No, where's it at? Oh, let's go back here. Is this it? Okay, yeah. Where is it? Right here. In October 1940, he joined what? The National Defense Research Committee. That would have been putting him right in the smack of anything that was going on in Eldridge.
No, wait, didn't that also eventually become DARPA?
Probably.
I think it did. I think it's a precursor to DARPA. DARPA doesn't start till like 1946, 47, and even then it starts as ARPA, and then they add the D to sound less, threatening. To the D just stands for defense.
Damn, he was into some serious stuff.
Yeah,
it's the more you read about him, the more you find. Let's see, radiation laboratory, which he invented and manufactured radar sets for Allied forces.
He saw service in the European theater in World War II, 44 to 45.
Director managed where it could become the largest civilian research organization, growing to 4,000 staff members, 100 million, 1.9 billion in the year 2024 in federal contracts. Jesus, dude, he left an empire behind.
Mm-hmm.
He was sent to England and France. They trusted it. He got to look at Hitler's V1 rockets. He was there for the D-Day invasion.
Well, he developed a way to detect them during the war when they started launching them. So it was his method how they were able to see them in the sky.
Helped develop radar use in combat. High Voltage Energy Corporation. So he was one of the ones that was trying to use these high voltage energies like a gun. Just reach out there and electrify you. First organized venture capital firm. This guy was just, no wonder the Trumps are so stinking wealthy.
Yeah, they're whatever he got out of those Tesla papers, that built their empire.
But some of this he did before that. He did in the early 40s before he got to the paper.
Well, I mean, he was already doing some of that research, but I'm sure that his research was being inspired by Tesla's work, and when he got a hold of it, I'm sure it advanced his theories, tenfold.
Let's see. National Medal of Science by Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, he got a bunch of awards.
In industry and atomic physics, he received wartime commendations from President Truman, King George VI.
Yeah.
Trump installed the original Van de Graaff generator at the Boston Museum of Science. Well, he was on the threshold of everything.
He's like the Buckaroo Banzai of his time. I mean,
well, Carolyn, the reason we bring this up is because there's been a big rumor that won't go away that this guy we're talking about right here, through Tesla's papers and the agencies, as you can see who he was hooked up with, he was able to build and design a time machine and move back and forward in time. He's estimated, well, he's dead. I guess we could find out what his estimated wealth was at his death. Well, for some reason, Wiki's not always about money. I mean, unless they're asking for money. But they're not always about money. Yeah. I don't know how he died. We could find that out too. Well, I know he wasn't a pauper like his nephew was. I mean, not his nephew.
Yeah, you type in his name and you get a Donald Trump's net worth.
Yeah. What's going to be hard for wait, here we go. This might be it right here. He's been dead for a long time. Wait, here we go. I think I got it. Well, if I get this other thing, let's see. Birthday 7, birth sign Leo, New York City, 77 years old when he died. Was very popular, blah, blah, blah. He passed in February 85. All we want is a net worth.
I got an article here from Forbes. Here's how much the Trump kids have made because of the presidency. Oh, never mind. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah. Damn, he was way up in the popular science list. It won't even speculate. Like cocky poppy. Poppycock people. Poppycock, yes. Usually you can... this says $25 million in 85. That would have been a lot of money, man. Back then. Today, that ain't jack shit, but back then, that would have been a lot of money. Well, Gene, I can't tell if this is a good source or not.
Yeah, anytime you type in John G. Trump, you get Donald Trump. So it's going to
be hard
to
find. This is definitely his page. This is networthlist.org. Died in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
1985. Yeah, but still 25 million in 85. If you adjust that forward, what's that for inflation? 60, 100 million?
No, probably about 250 million.
Oh, geez.
It's and if he'd have been having that and investing it as he went, he had a great education. I mean, he did some serious schools.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jackie, because that's what I'm saying. When you get into these, he's not a fictitious person; he's a real person. Well, you can type in that. So he was involved. There's no way you can argue that he wasn't involved with Tesla's files. The government doesn't deny. As far as I know, no one's denied the fact that he received and went through all of Tesla's work. Now,
this is also a fact, and it has not been disputed. 80 different trunks and cases and suitcases and boxes of material were taken from Tesla's last known residence in the hotel in New York. Of those 80 cases, only 60 were returned after they were examined by John G. Trump. Do the math. Either the government took them or Trump took them. And
well, there was all kind of rumors like Gorilla Glass and all kind of other stuff we use today was invented by him, but it was just racked until it could be used. Like y'all know, I think Gorilla Glass came out in like 1950 or something, but we couldn't use it for anything. It was great, but we didn't have it. Wasn't. But today we use it because it's so sensitive and so strong. We use it for our cell phones. I don't know why.
Velcro actually was also something that came out in the 50s, 1947, 50s, allegedly attached to the Roswell crash as well, according to Colonel Corso. And it wasn't used in anything until, the 60s. Star Trek made great use of it to attach the phasers and communicators to their pants. But it wasn't until probably the 80s when Velcro really took off and people started using it as like a way to, close clothing, attach things to the wall that they were frequently used, like, attach the remote control to the side of the coffee table so the dog doesn't constantly knock it to the floor. A lot of these technologies, they didn't have a clear idea how to use them, because they're just like the Gorilla Glass. What do you need a really thin piece of glass for?
Yeah, so today it's a useful piece of work. Well, so he was supposedly volunteered to stay on the L Ridge to monitor the Tesla coil, because technically he's the guy who built it and put it together and operated it. Well, we didn't have any of that information until about 10, maybe 20 years ago. So if he went forward in time, and I can't remember where, there's been an argument about how far in time the Eldridge went. You can't go by the movie, because the movie could only go to the time frame of the movie it was, which I think was like 85 or 87.
But the alleged story, the alleged time frame from the actual Eldridge is somewhere between 78 and 84.
So Jack, this would get screwy. There's a couple of descriptions of what went on. So there's a set that makes you feel like it's in the 80s. There's another set, because they talk about car designs and bus designs that make you feel in the 90s. But then he goes as far as talking about electric self-driving cars and taxi cabs. Okay, that's now.
Yeah.
So which age is it? Or did he skip across these ages? And
yeah, did he do a 12 Monkeys kind of thing, and skim across time?
Well, he may not have actually landed, but in one time zone, but he may have picked up information from the other ones as he's traveling through them.
Right, yeah.
Well, we don't know, but he sure knew information that he shouldn't have. He didn't die poor, he didn't die a popular like Tesla. And they deliberately, and look at Edison. Edison's got so much stuff off of Tesla, it wasn't even funny. Well, no, originally Tesla worked for Edison, but he tried to explain to Edison that DC power wasn't the way to send power across transmission lines. There was too many problems with DC. You have to reboost DC power every so often, or it just dissipates too quickly. But alternate current is a much different thing. DC means direct current. It's direct and alternating current.
Yeah, the difference is DC is the stuff like a battery. You put it in your little, remote control. That's direct current. Alternate current's what you got in the walls. It plugs you plug your, things into, lights and vacuums and things.
Jeffrey, they can be high voltage DC, but it's just not efficient. It's not like AC.
It's like the solar radiation. It doesn't store. You can't hold it for long before it dissipates.
Yeah, so if you wanted to have a DC running your whole city, say a city like New York, you'd have to have substations, reboost stations, basically every probably a few miles. Whereas AC, you have to have stations, but those are transfer stations. Those aren't boost stations. You're still picking up the same power. Yeah, you're still picking up the same power from the plant. This is just places that sends it this way or sends it that way or sends it over there or wherever it's going to send it, or holds it until it needs to go somewhere. Well, AC, you don't hold AC power for long periods of time because it's alternating current. So you want it to be moving. What do you mean how I learned? That was basic electricity 101.
Yeah, it's in the name, current. I mean, it needs to flow. If the flow is staunched, that's when shorts and groundages and sparks and fires and things begin to happen.
I remember being in high school, and I kept going. I was learning pi, and I was like, man, it just would not make sense in my head. And then I got in the Navy. And you have to learn pi, but it's slightly different because the letters mean different things. But regardless, it's the same algebra. It's just with different meanings. It finally made sense to me then. was like, oh well, this shit ain't near as hard as I thought it was. Well, the Navy's funny about things. Everybody works in electronics and electricity has a calculator. And back then they were about the size of your cell phone, maybe a little bit bigger. But the Navy, first off, you have to ace every test you take in the Navy to graduate. You can't. You only get 3 attempts, and you have to ace it. If you don't, you get thrown out and you have to go somewhere else, to a different school or something. And so you really have to be paying attention to the fine minutia of stuff. Well, you can deliberately fail if you want to get out. You can just not get through there. But
pull a clinger, get a Section 8, and get thrown out.
Yeah, or just fail 3 times in a row, and they'll send you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he tried to do the same thing. He wasn't trying to necessarily fail. He was trying to get thrown out on being called crazy by the the medical corps.
Oh, I remember one of my commanders goes, "What are you trying to get yourself thrown out?" I'm like, "Why?" He said, "Joe, you missed Ohm's law twice." He said, "Now you've had this question at least 13 times. And Ohm's law is just a bullshit law you spout out." But he said, "You're trying to get tossed out, aren't you? What, you ready to go home?" I said, "No, I was just thinking about maybe being a jet mechanic." He said, "Bullshit, you're gonna be a jet mechanic. That ain't what you want." He said, "You know what? Even if you fail this test today, I'm not letting you out of here." So I just went ahead and passed.
You're trapped.
I just went ahead and passed it so he would stop, bullying me. But you wouldn't really bully me. He's just bitching.
Well, I mean, it's funny you say that. I mean, we actually at the Home Depot, I was part of the safety team. I was the team captain of the safety team, and we had this one young kid who kept intentionally every month they had a test or a little quiz, a little video we would watch on safety. And it was a different topic each month and each week and whatnot, but you had to watch it. And at the end of each video was like, I don't know, half a dozen, 5 or 6, 7 questions you had to answer. You had to answer correctly. You wouldn't get in trouble if you missed them, but this kid intentionally answered all the questions wrong every time. And, it came across on my computer when I was getting ready for, a safety inspection on part of my job. And so I walked up to the assistant manager. I was like, "Hey, man, you see this? This young kid, he's 3 times in a row. He's failed this on purpose." So we had to talk to him about that. So you got to be careful about that kind of thing. They will kind of fire you on, I mean, maybe not. I don't know how that works for the Navy, but as far as the retail business goes, they would have fired him if he'd have done that again.
Well, that's what I said. If you miss a question 3 times in a row, they throw you out. They don't throw you out the Navy. They just throw you out of the school.
Throw you out of that program. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't, No, Jackie, I graduated with advanced avionics, advanced electronics. Not easy to do. I think maybe 3 people a year finish that course in the Navy. Yes,
it's not easy to do unless you're an alien.
Well, the funny part is, Gene, I never really used it. I've always been a geek in science and math and stuff, but for some reason, when I got out of the Navy, I was screwing around. I even drove an ice cream truck for a little while. Yeah, I was bored. I didn't know what to do. I had a couple of years of special forces. I had a couple of years of advanced electronics. I had been field promoted 4 times, which is unheard of. So I had a great record. I had 2 honorable discharges, one from active duty to reserve duty, and one from reserve duty to out. So I mean, I was in good standing with the service, and I was bored. So a friend of mine says, "Hey, I own this little ice cream gig. You want to come drive a truck for me?" I'm like, "Dude, how much money can I make doing this?" He said, "Joe, you're bored. Just go do it." So I did it for a while. Trust me, it made me go get a real job. It was fun. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. People give me all kind of freebie stuff for ice cream. Man, you get places going crazy.
Now, I don't know how they do that down there, but in the state of Pennsylvania, to do any kind of business like that caters to children, and or it's like if you're going to become a teacher's assistant or a teacher, they give you an extreme. You think alien probing? They give you an extreme probing with the I guess the state medical departments. They have to make sure you're not going to be a pedophile. So you have to go through all kinds of psychological,
they don't care.
rigmaroles.
They have a hard enough finding people to do these kind of jobs. It was, but I still remember him when I went and got a job as a GM. So where he goes, he's like, "Damn, man," he said, "you tripled the sales on this route. How'd you do that?" And I said, "Easy." I said, "Did you not know that this route's right smack in the middle of a warehouse district?" He's like, "No." I said, "I go by the warehouses on lunchtime." "Oh shit, that was brilliant." I'm like, "Not really." I didn't think it was all that brilliant, to be honest with you, but still it worked. And then there were certain other places I'd go on certain days and certain weeks, like they had a couple of rough neighborhoods, but I'd only go over there 3 times a month when they got paid. Man, they'd be just surrounding the little ice cream truck, man, rocking and rolling it. No, I never had any problems like that. No, I've never had really big problems with race. One, I'm not a racist, so there's no reason I'm not offensive. I don't really give a shit what color you are. I just care about how you act. Look,
and if you have a dollar, have an ice cream. Big deal.
You could be a purple Venusian as far as I'm concerned, but you're either an asshole or you're not. And that's how you fit into my world. Not your color. It makes a difference to me. Not unless you're like rainbow colored. Then I might just kick you out for GP. But that shit make a difference. No, so anyway, I know we got distracted, but so it looks like John. So now that we know he worked for he started DARPA, it's a 90% chance, since he's the guy who actually had the Tesla files, that he was the guy working on the Tesla coil on board the Eldridge.
And very likely the guy who started at least started up our initial particle beam programming, which we know we do have those. They're not totally declassified, but we know they're out.
Oh no, Gene, you don't even have to type in. If I type in John G. Trump, it'll ask me if I want Tesla. Oh yeah, because that's how many times it's been researched.
Yeah, and like you said, this is relatively recent. I mean, I've throughout the whole paranormal research I've done through the 70s and 80s and 90s and today's, you hear about Tesla all the time. You don't hear about John G. Trump until maybe
I keep
15
wanting to
years
call him
ago.
Donald G. Trump. That's another thing. That's a Freudian thing, but I keep calling him Donald G. Trump.
Yeah.
And, no, I got to go back and correct titles, people. But maybe we'll get Jay to do it. But still, it's if I'm making that mistake, you know how many other people are making that mistake. And the only reason it gave it to me is I put in as his uncle. So it just picked it up. Oh, he wants Donald Trump.
Yeah, I fixed it in the bottom scroll.
Stephen. Well, if it makes the Eldridge more plausible now, more of a thing that probably happened. So when you listen to the story of the Eldridge, it's a 50-50 story. It really is. I mean, it could be real, but it could just be bullshit. It could be stuff. Remember, just like all branches of the military, the Navy made up shit that wasn't true to make the Russians spend money. And hence, one of our favorites, Star Wars. So yes, we were actually building a Star Wars system, but it wasn't what everybody thought it was. It wasn't designed to take out nuclear missiles. This thing was designed to take out something much larger, a city, a spacecraft, but something other than nuclear missiles. Nuclear vessels. So I actually had the presence I was in Los Alamos, and we had the pleasure of seeing these things get shot into space. They had these discs. They were probably around the size of my house. My house is 2,000 square feet. When you add in everything, probably about 3. The little additions and crap underneath and stuff. But really, 2,000. So they were taking discs the size of my house, setting on top of this laser. And at first, you'd see this little beam of light come out, look like your damn pointer. And then you'd see a bigger, wider beam, which is about 2 inches. It'd start to. Then all of a sudden, there was a blast come through. This freaking beam was as wide as my car, not wider. It's way too big to be shooting down missiles. And all of a sudden, this thing got to spinning. And it was gone. It broke the atmosphere in less than 3 minutes. And you don't think we don't have craft that we look way better than what we got now? After seeing that proved one thing to me. If we can do that with this, we can do that with anything. So what else do we have? This was like a laser elevator is what this fucking was. Excuse my language, what this was. This is extremely advanced technology. I've only ever seen it come across it 3 times on television or on the internet. And I did verify it with somebody. It was one of the nice things about helping some people in the service and in the government is that they return the favor every once in a while. Help you find out. Well, you just so much stuff like the Aurora until I don't know, until about 95. I didn't know if the Aurora was real or not. And then I had somebody on the inside and I found out, well, it was definitely real. And then I found out for Stevensville, it was the thing that went flying through Stevensville was an Aurora.
You know what it finalized the Aurora for me is so far every top secret craft that's been about to come out, if it's real, Revel model kits made a military version of it. So the SR-71, the AU-2 spy plane, all of these model kits came out just prior to these craft being declassified, and the Aurora was one of those.
Yeah. Well, Jesse, the TR-3B and the Aurora are different craft. Both of them are space-worthy craft, but the Black Triangle's out. It's a little bit older than the Aurora. It's been around a little bit longer. It's supposedly the ones that took. We picked up the Chinese ruler. What was his name back then? Gorbachev, and took him for a ride to Mars, and said, "This is our technology today." And well, everybody knows the story from that, Paul. The wall collapsed.
No, it happened the day after that. Yeah.
And Reagan got up there and yip yip yay, and the world changed. The Aurora is different, John. So when you look at the Black Triangle, just think of magnetic or gravity drive, or maybe it's a combination of both. And they're not the same thing. People, magnetic drive, gravitation drive are the same. No, they're not. Magnetic drive is working off the magnetic fields of the planet. Gravitational drives are working off the gravitational fields of not just this planet, but anything around this planet that may be creating gravity. It can even
everything in the universe, everything generates a gravitational wave, but not everything in the universe generates an electromagnetic wave or a magnetic wave. So
the Aurora can generate a gravitational wave that can connect to other gravitational waves and pull and push itself away. The magnetic field basically works the same way. It just has some limitations, probably range in deep space. But we know that
mainly range, but also the thing that not every planet has magnetic atmosphere. So it makes it
but
harder.
we know that the TR-3B has been to Mars and back, and we've had a couple of people over the years authenticate that. So I don't know, Jonathan, is a base, and I don't agree with Alfred Weber that that's where presidents go for training. I don't think Donald Trump was living on Mars for 8 years training to be a president. And they usually talk about taking them as kids anyway, and I don't. It just doesn't add up.
Well, yeah, unless he was taken when he was a teenager, 50, 60, 80, 70 years ago, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, before the moon started to rise.
Yeah.
So getting back, Chris. So you have.
Do we have a break coming up? It is 10.
Screw the break.
All right.
So
I'm going to run upstairs to get some lemonade. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. I got you covered. So here you've got John G. Trump, who's got all kind of accolades to his. He's got all kind of accreditations. He's got a couple of PhDs. He's got a couple of things to his self. But anyway, so you have this man who went and took Tesla stuff. Now this was in January. According to different sources, the Eldridge happened in October same year. Depending on who you want to believe, some people say it was 4 years later. I really don't know, and I don't know how much difference that actually makes. But regardless, it still would be the same guy. It still would be John G. Trump. He got the documents. He went through the documents. He decided what the government was going to keep and use. And then they put him in charge of all kind of stuff, including, well, it wasn't DARPA back then, but it was the defense agency. So if anybody had the ability to travel forward or backward on time, it would be this guy. This would be the guy. This would be your man who had gone forward and came back. Maybe he's the guy who's always calling in on coast to coast. That's definitely. I should call in coast to say coast. Oh, get a voice changer and call in coast. Say, I'm John G. Trump. Let me tell you what's going to happen next. I'm the one that got Tesla stuff and created the first time machine. Oh, you mean G's parents? It was Frederick Trump and Elizabeth Chris Trump. Actually, that's more like Christ Trump. But anyway, Frederick Trump and Elizabeth Christ Trump. Yeah, don't ask me. That's probably her maiden name. Education, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Columbia University, New York University, Tandem School of Engineering, Richmond Hill High School, founded High Voltage Engineering Corporation. Yeah, he was a busybody. What do you mean? Was he tall like the other Trumps? I really have not a clue. I mean, I imagine it's somewhere. I imagine you can find it somewhere. This guy looked good in 1954. He went to some serious schools, serious classes. Electronic beam sterilization of wastewater. Electron beam. Uh-huh.
Well, there is currently, I don't know if this is him, but there is currently some systems that use a UV filter. Basically what it is, it's a UV emitting light bulb that you put inside the filter system that it shines the light into the water, killing bacteria. That's a legitimate thing. We actually have that right now.
Well, that's probably its ancestor right here. Come on, think.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. Well, but also I heard as I was walking away to get lemonade, you said about the time travel. I was thinking about that on the way down. Because the White House just recently announced that they have time travel capability. So what if that's from his technology, what he built?
That could be leftover technology. But it seemed like whatever happened in Eldridge, they were really keen to shut it down. I think it went way out of control and caused problems that we didn't know about.
So the official report from the Navy of that day goes like this. First, they turn on the machine. They're in Newport News, Virginia. They turn on the machine. A cloud surrounds the Eldridge, then a rainbow. It disappears. Moments later, it appears. Well, a cloud appears, and then a rainbow, and then the Eldridge appears. I'm sorry. No, it's in Philadelphia Harbor. It appears in Norfolk News moments later after the cloud, in reverse, like the rainbow, the steam, and then the boat. It shows up, and then almost as fast as it appears in Newport News, Virginia, it disappears again and reappears back in Philadelphia Harbor. But the thing is that only occurred over a time of about 2 minutes. However, people on board experienced hours of time, and 2 or 3 say they experienced being, like I said earlier, somewhere in the 1970s or 80s, 78, 79, for a brief time of a week or two before they were brought back, all in that brief 2 minutes. So some weird stuff really happened.
What's that, Christy? I don't.
Well,
a lot of people died.
The initial experiment was to make the ships visible in the invisible. They were trying to make our Navy ships invisible to the visible spectrum of light, effectively make them invisible to the naked eye. However, the experiment had 2 effects it didn't expect. One was the time travel. 2 was the teleportation. But in both cases, the ship did temporarily disappear. So they were on track. They experienced 2 things they did not expect: teleportation and time travel, and both of them happened near instantaneously.
Okay, let's see. Where am I at? Okay, over here. Okay, it's yeah. Let's get this off the stage for a minute.
Ooh.
I'll get this off the stage for a minute. Hit this up. Share some screen up. Is this the one? No, is this the one? Okay. Yeah, you can go buy you one of these, Jay. There you go.
What is it? Oh, a Tesla coil. Yay. Oh, Van de Graaff generator.
It's a Van de Graaff generator, close to Tesla coil, but not a Tesla coil.
Well, I mean, but these are the kind of things that you would see in a Frankenstein movie. Like 2 rabbit ear antennas with an electrical spark going zzz. These kind of balls spinning out balls of electrical, sparks, all for Frankenstein laboratory effect. So very, very cool. A little expensive though.
You know how we used to make those? We'd get 2 transformers, set them across from each other, and pull them out until they would shoot the volt of electricity between them. By the way, you got to be careful with that because that shit can kill you. But
Oh yeah.
Help yourself. You go look at that. You can go generating away. You can be Tesla. That's why I came with this, so you can pull the electricity. That's what this thing's right here for.
Yeah, so it's like the plasma ball without the glass ball around it.
Now, for everybody who owns an electric car, you need to buy this right here and put that in your trunk, and hook it up to your gas tank, and put a little thing out there, and you'll never have to charge your car ever again. and you'll get like 200 miles a gallon. Yeah, because you'll be running. All this will do is keep your battery charged. That's all it'll do. And a motor this side will easily keep a battery charged, one that's the size that you got to keep charged. I don't know. The guy was in some heavy stuff. He was in some big science. I mean, he got more awards than you can even think. Every time I find another page, there's more awards.
He's a serious dude, 100%.
You never hear Trump talk about him.
Probably because he worked for the precursor to DARPA. So probably most of what he did was, deep top secret still.
Yeah, well,
Trump doesn't know all of it.
It was NDRC, to direct White House wartime research strategy. That's what National Defense Research Committee. So the guy was in some heavy stuff, guys. I mean, that's heavy. That means his clearance was super high. He was head of radar detection. Again, every time a Pearl Harbor attacks. Wait, what? So after the Pearl Harbor thing, because he told everybody they could have prevented Pearl Harbor, their company started building radar systems all over the place.
Yeah.
Let's see. MIT campus open filed operations around the world and filed $110 million in government research and contracts. Jesus. That's even rivals today's money. Review of Tesla papers. There you go, people. So why did it have to go through the Office of Alien Property? Wasn't he a citizen by this time?
Yeah, I believe he was a citizen the whole time he was here, actually.
That's why I don't understand why did it have to go through Office of Alien Property unless they mean extraterrestrial aliens.
Yeah, that could be. Well, I mean, so it's possible though that most of that stuff maybe he had those ideas when he was European, and maybe that's why they deemed it as alien intelligence. I don't know.
And examine the notes and artifacts left behind the invented Tesla had offered the U.S. Army a license to unspecified secret weapons, and the officials believed that his belongings may contain designs or promised high voltage death ray.
Yeah,
he knew how to build it. He just didn't leave it behind for you idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Smart on his point, by the way.
I think he left enough behind for us to develop our own Nikola death ray, but I think the actual what his invention was, that's been lost. I don't think John Trump found that. I have a feeling Tesla knew that the U.S. government would use it for terrible effects.
Well, I don't think he was trying to sell it to the government. They just wouldn't buy it.
No, because they wanted to get it for free. So that's probably why
they wouldn't. It's just weird they wouldn't buy it. What's that, Jimmy? Well, I can't find any documentation with his name on the Eldridge. Matter of fact, it says in 1943 he was the head of the Red Brigade in England. That's what his service time was, late 43 to mid 45, I guess, until the war ended. Yeah, well, we don't know that. And that would be a great place to put someone. You didn't want them to know if they were going to disappear or not. That's a good question, but I don't. Just no evidence. There's no evidence that we can get our hands on that say 100%. You know what, though? If we ever get to be one of the people at the White House, I'll ask. Trump, did your uncle discover time travel in Tesla's paperwork?
Yeah.
Never hurts to ask. All I can say, it's crazy. Get him out of here. Whatever the blonde hair.
Yeah, worst he'll say is for you call you fake news and you're a terrible person. I was just reading up on the National Defense Research Committee. It doesn't specifically say, but they were that I believe they were the precursor to ARPA, which then became DARPA. They were started by Roosevelt, and one of their key projects was the atomic bomb.
Yes. Well, there's no doubt he was involved in that when you look at some of the stuff he was involved in.
He definitely had a hand in some of the electronics, I'll bet you for sure.
Jimmy, they weren't so much trying to make. They were actually trying to make the Eldritch disappear. They weren't trying to make it
invisible
stealthy.
to the visible light spectrum, invisible to the naked eye.
Yeah. So in other words, they didn't want to be invisible on a radar system. They wanted to be just invisible. But that's all fine and dandy. If radar could still hear, you see, it wouldn't matter if you were invisible or not.
Well, no, this would have made it visible to all forms of detection on the at least on the electromagnetic spectrum. You need another way of detecting it to find it once it was turned invisible.
Well, no, you wouldn't actually. If it was a solid object that was crossing through dimensional space, it would still create a wake, which unfortunately for anybody looking at it with a radar would still create a bounce back, which means they would know where it is. As long as it was in our dimensional space,
well, that may have been
or not, we'd know where it was.
Actual result of the
test.
Because
technically,
the idea was to make it invisible to both radar, visible light spectrum.
Something about
but
the
it's a failed experiment anyway. They didn't proceed. They didn't do it correctly anyway.
They became time travelers, and then you got to wonder why didn't they use it again?
Well, apparently he said they did in 47. They tried it again.
That's what they say, but we don't know that. And actually, they even made a whole nother movie about the second time, which is crazy. Well, there was a lot of him hawing about, oh, it did this or it did that. It was causing catastrophic problems in the future. It was
like it left the time portal open or something like that.
I don't know. None of us have ever time traveled. How do we know? How do we know what to expect? Well, they say, according to the witnesses on the dock, the Eldritch did physically disappear. It physically was gone,
and no ripple or wake in the water where it was sitting, completely gone. And there were several ships around it taking pictures and photographs. There's one or two photographs of the mist, and the ship is not inside the mist, and so it's right after it disappeared.
Yeah. And then there's pictures of the water which show no depression in the water from the weight of the ship. So eventually it worked in the fact that it went invisible, but it took it somewhere.
Teleportation was the other unexpected side effect. It actually physically changed position from Philadelphia Harbor, 700 miles, I think, to Virginia, Newport News, naval station.
What is that, Kirk? Well, there's a lot of things supposedly happened. There's no way of really verifying it yet. Well, a couple of the guys were alive in the future that were actually worked on the experiment from the past. That's how they got it to come back to where it went, because the guys in the future were able to control the experiment and send it back. Basically, what it says is that they just did it before we were ready to understand how to control it, and we had to stop it in the past. But they didn't destroy it because it came back. But also, then there's I think it was an onboard fire. Mysteriously later on, it might have been months later, but there was a mysterious fire, and there were a lot of people who reported had weird injuries from the fire. So basically what they did was the Navy cut everybody out of the dock, steel, put them on ice until such a time they could come up with a way to report these people as dead. Well, they couldn't do it then because that would prove that the experiment worked, or at least it happened. It wouldn't be the first time our government's frozen dead people to put them out later on. Yeah, it's not. Unfortunately, our government's not beyond those kind of things. If I remember correctly, the first time anybody ever heard about the Philadelphia experience was in 1955, as far as the public goes.
1955 is when the first rumors and stories have started to abound.
Yeah, I think there was a book or something written.
Charles Berlitz, The Philadelphia Experiment. It's the first book I'm aware of.
Hold on, I'll type make sure, but it says blah 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 blah. The story surfaced in 1955 with when Allen sent a book full of handwritten notes referring to the experiment to the U.S. Research Organization. A little later, a series of letters making further claims to a UFO. Arthur Allen's account event is widely understood to be a hoax. That's not what I heard, but hey, we'll let y'all have it. It is Wiki, so Wiki always goes to us. Wiki's left, people. I can't help it. I didn't make Wiki.
Yeah, the first book to come out was Charles Berlitz, The Philadelphia Experiment, Project Invisibility, 1979.
Yeah.
Co-authored with William Moore.
Yeah, it says, what is this? Philadelphia Experiment originated in late 55 when Carl M. Allen sent the letters.
And, Carl, no, it's Carl Allende.
Well, no, that's what it just says. Carl M. Allen. That's all it says.
Yeah, they shortened it to Allen, but there's a DE at the end. It's Carlos. It's actually Carlos M. Allende. It's a very strange story. He's also, I think, that same name, Carlos Allende, is also associated with the United States publication of the Alien Species Guidebook that has all the 80 or 90 different species we've encountered.
And then see what it was also packaged and marked with Happy Easter, containing a copy of Morris K. Jessup book, The Case for the UFO Unidentified Flying Objects, Office Naval Research, from the Office of Naval Research.
Oh, yeah.
So all these guys were tangled together somehow or another. I wonder where. So that's the thing about reading all this, people. You find little connections here and there. Well, that's what you got to find out. Who was Allen? He had original notes, which means he was in the military. And I guess when he sent it in, his time was up. Well, you can report secret stuff as long as it's outside of your well, everyone has to sign an agreement not to disclose information. There's actually a couple of different kinds to sign, but most of them are at least 25 years. Some of them are shorter, depending on the topic matter, how believable it is. Some of them are shorter. The one we had to sign for the Nimitz incident originally was 35 years. And when we started talking about it a year after it was over, they made us sign another one for 25 years, which will all be dead by then. So what does it matter? Or too dumb to remember.
Or even if you do remember, no one will believe it because it's, that crazy old man.
No, the Navy says it was a hoax, Jeffrey. Yeah, they stick hardcore by it was a hoax. What else are you going to say?
Yeah, I mean, you send one of your, destroyers 700 miles accidentally by teleportation. Half the men on board get sucked or somehow dimensionally melded into the ship. Half alive, half not. Yeah, it was a weird thing.
Well, when you start getting into things like the Philadelphia Experiment, you got to be careful because as I'm reading through this reports, there's a lot of other things that attached itself to this report dealing with extraterrestrials and stuff like that, which is cool, but it just hurts the overall if this is real or not. They said it was many times that they were just brainwashing you to keep it a secret.
Well, I mean, the Navy can keep saying that it's a hoax, it's fake, but this tie-in that this is a new tie-in. John G. Trump ties in with this. I don't know. I've never thought it was any sort of a hoax.
Yeah, you gotta. It's a serious amount of information. I mean, he was into it up to his eyeballs, man. I mean, Jesus. Mm-hmm. And knowing that Trump now had an uncle that helped build DARPA makes you look at the whole thing differently. So, but 85, Trump was still what, his 40s or something.
Yeah, had to be because it's about 40.
Yeah, he was like late 30s, 38, 39 or something. Yeah. He might have known. He might have known.
Well, I mean, when your uncle has 25 million from being a college professor, college professors usually don't score that kind of cash without some sort of scam or gimmick on the side. And apparently, he had all kinds of gimmicks and scams on the side.
Obviously, the guy knew his electronics seriously. I mean, that's a serious amount of electronics he knew. It's rare you see somebody with that degree of education unless they're into some specialty programs.
Well, yeah, but I mean the medical equipment alone sure that's where he made the bulk of his money.
Oh, I'm sure he made a lot of money in the medical equipment. There's no doubt about that. It's it's a good place. Hey, how come I got a red thing on my head?
Because you didn't change your avatar photo.
Chris. Well, no, I mean he could be a boring character because there's only so much information we can pull off of him.
He didn't seem. He's not like Trump. He wasn't in. He wasn't a playboy. He wasn't in the limelight. He was a bookworm. He was a geek. He hung out in laboratories and stuck his tongue in electrical outlets and stuff like that.
I don't know if Rumble was on or not. It should be on. Looks like it's on. What, you wasn't on a few minutes ago? Oh, I hope there wasn't an issue with it. Well, we started a little later tonight, but I shouldn't have no issues with it.
It looks like they're on here.
Yeah, I see them on here. Well, I'll check it. No, I'll check it later on. That's why we always have Facebook and other stuff. Maybe there was some kind of glitch with it. No, we're actually on good behavior right now. Yeah, unfortunately. It's Sean's fault. He caused it.
JoJo Mon looks like it's live.
Yeah, Sean caused us to get in trouble. He was being bad. We told him no stripping that night, but he just wouldn't listen.
Yeah, he got that new brass pole.
And he had his new Santa Claus stripper outfit, so it was.
Yeah. That's part of it. He loves those vinyl Santa Claus boots.
Thank God you can mute them kind of things. No, we'll either see him Friday or Saturday. Yeah, why?
He'll definitely be in on Saturday. That's for sure. He's taking a break from news on the flip side.
You got love notes for him or something?
Remember now, he's got two sets of twins that are occupying his time. One set is 23 years old, the other set is 22. And he's only in his mid-40s. He looks like he's 90, but that's because the girls they don't let him have any rest.
Yeah, they wear him out. They do. They bust him up. Well, Chris, what all this could mean is that Trump actually knew what was going on. Let's say that Trump had information about the last 3 elections.
So yeah, what if he knew he was going to be in advance? What if he'd seen the future already?
No, that's what we're saying, Chris. You don't know. No, we don't know.
I mean, the White House has said flat out this year we have access to time travel. There's been rumors in the past that the CIA has access to time travel, where they have allegedly shown past presidents footage that they went back in time and filmed in Dealey Plaza. So
we'll just have to wait and see.
If we've got it, there are several departments of the U.S. government that are using it for whatever means they need to take control.
Well, that's the other problem. I can't just see people indiscriminately having time travel because the world would be a shithole overnight. Not enough people are going to understand it, and people who get their hands on it that don't even know what it is something else. Jimmy,
there's the grandfather paradox. You go back and you kill someone you think isn't related to you. Turns out he's your great 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 grandfather, and it kills your entire family line.
Yeah. Ask me that on Friday, John. We'll talk about Special Counsel Jack Smith. Oh yeah. Ask me about that. That's not for this show, but you asked me about Friday. I tell you all about his no good little crappy ass. Oh well, hey, everybody's got their opinions about everybody. All right, where did I get lost at here? Let me see if I can find myself. Oh, there I am. I'm back. Okay. No, I don't know what happened there. But that would give Trump access to information. Maybe not Trump. Maybe Trump's dad got the information and passed it down to Trump. But he does seem like he almost knows because he picks fights that most people would leave alone because, you might get in trouble. I mean, the man does have 34 felonies and all kind of other problems.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't stop.
So you're saying he's picking battles that he knows already from the future he wins.
And he might be. We don't know. See, that's the thing, guys. We don't know.
So that must mean that his current actions in the Venezuela, he must know something.
The only thing that confused me is why he should know more about Russia. But I guess if they weren't in Russia, he wouldn't know, would he? That's true. I don't know, James. I just feel like they should know more, but maybe whatever time travel it was limited. What can you see? Can you see his uncle? And he slips, he's on the Eldridge, and all of a sudden he's thrown off the Eldridge somewhere in the future. Well, see, for us, if it was 80s to 85, he could actually witness his own death.
Yeah.
As a young man, he could have been like in his 38 and witnessed death, seen it, knowing when he was going to die. But we'd only have information to that point. Trump seems to have information to this point, which of course is 40 years later, which means someone else would have had to be doing some time traveling.
Well, and we don't know how much time travel he did. And if you're in a time travel machine, how much time do you need to gather all that information? You could leave right now, this instant, be gone for 100 years and come back to this very instant, or even like a second after you left.
No, you can't, because you're still physically aging. You're not going to not quit aging. You're going to keep aging. That's going to be the problem. You're still going to age. There's nothing out there that's going to keep you from stopping aging. You're just going to keep on getting old. So 100 years
around that, but yeah, but
now
happened.
If you say go 500 years in the future and they've got a cure for that, then that might change things. But
yeah,
it's a lot. Let me put it like this: there's a lot of ifs in this conversation. A lot more ifs than we need. Jack, yeah, I'm not sure. It could happen. I'm not going to rule it out, because if okay, let me put it this way to everybody listening: if he wouldn't have got hold of Teslas, I said this was complete and utter bullshit. But knowing he was the guy who retrieved all the Tesla stuff, and knowing that his education was the kind of education that would let him understand Tesla's work, then that changes the playing field.
Well, I mean, it's not in a clear, it's without any kind of question, whatever he found built the Trump empire. Whatever he utilized from Tesla made his money.
Made his, but it didn't make his daddy's.
No, but I mean,
that's another thing.
Well, I'm sure that some of that money trickled on to his family, his brothers and sisters and whatnot. But that still started the Trump empire. I mean, you can't start an empire with lots of money without lots of money. It's just impossible.
Yeah, the old man was pretty good at real estate too, though. It was so it's hard to say about that kind of stuff. And then
we don't know for sure that Trump's daddy didn't go to Trump's brother and go, look, you got this 25 million, or let's say you got this 30 million. Can I have 5? And I'll start my own business. We don't know that didn't happen.
No, we don't. But there's something about the arrogance of that side of the family that makes me think that's not how it went down.
But we also don't know if John Trump was as arrogant as Donald Trump. He may not be. He may, like I said, he was a bookworm. He seems like a geek.
He does, but when you start looking at the programs involved in him, he does not seem like a geek. He seems like a very powerful person who knew he was a very powerful person. I mean, you don't go after those kind of agencies unless you got the kahunas to run them, and that takes a serious ego.
For the most part, I think they recruited him for the Tesla stuff, but he most definitely benefited from it. Whatever he's found there, he built his empire on it.
He definitely whatever it was helped him to get through all those other projects. But he was pretty up in the projects before.
Yeah, I think he was aware.
I mean, that's why he got to see Tesla stuff, because he was already that prominent in the field. They said, "Well, this is a
but he also had to ultimately be aware of Tesla. Tesla was big news in the day, and he was in the field in the day, so he would have definitely been. If he didn't read up on him, he was at least socially aware of Tesla.
Well, being that he worked for that military organization, I'm pretty sure they knew who each other were.
They probably met. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Because I mean, he was, after all, trying to sell stuff to the military. So, well, no, Johnny, Tesla was not the peace, love, and light people y'all think he was. That's not who he was. That's old wives' tales. Tesla built several what they call doomsday weapons.
Yeah.
When you're a peace, love, and light, you don't build doomsday weapons. That can be.
Well, he was after the almighty buck. He didn't care less where the technology went.
He was. He had issues. Let's just put it that way.
He's a very strange dude, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, most people who look at Elon, them super brilliant people are not normal. They don't look at the world the same way we look at the world. They see it differently than we do. It's not always a good differently either, but they definitely see it differently than we do. What do you mean? Why do they see it differently? Because their brains work different. Yeah, it gets like that. You get to be a brilliant person. Sometimes the brilliancy takes over, makes you think you're more than what you are. Elon forgot when he got involved with Trump, he let his ego take over his head, and he became a monster, and the society took him down. Said, no, you might be the richest man in the world, but we're going to bring you down a notch. And they did. Even he admitted to it. He said he wouldn't do it again. And now, as of the other day, he's worth $600 million. He's the richest man in the world again. And by this time next year, he'll be worth $1.5 trillion. He'll be the first trillionaire. He'll have more money than Russia.
More money than God.
No, God's got all the money, so he can't have no more money than God. But God's like, you want to see real money? Look how much gold I have on my trillions of planets out here. You've got one little planet, dude. Come on. It's you know what, Kim? That's if God even pays attention to this world anymore. He may have moved on to other places, creating new projects. And just come back and wipe us out every once in a while to see if we're smart enough not to get wiped out.
Yeah.
Well, according to the Bible, every time we've been wiped out, it's because we've been a bad society.
Yeah. Doing things we're not supposed to be doing.
And I'm thinking right now, we're a pretty bad society. Oh, yeah, people. We're not. I don't think we would be on God's best list.
I think we're overdue for a spanking.
I think he's thinking, oh, man, because he's got to be worried. He should. It's got to be worried that, we'll be spacefaring here in 100 years.
What do you mean, will be? We are spacefaring.
No, I mean, seriously, spacefaring outside the solar system. It's, we'll have the whole, in 100 years, you won't recognize the solar system. There will be bases and little places all over. You can go make your little fortune. Gold mining will be a thing again. Diamond mining, stuff we've never heard of will be getting mined. And you'll get paid more for your stuff because it'll have to be processed on Mars and then brought home. You hop on one of Elon's Musk ships with your check for $3 trillion. Going back to live on Earth. Probably not, because by then there'll be better planets.
Yeah, by then Earth will be a shithole. Pardon my French.
No, I love my planet, but we're not exactly the best landlords. That's how I'll say that. Yeah, I mean, we could be better landlords. Yes.
Yeah, we're not very good housekeepers.
We have issues. We're like the dirty kid on drugs. But it still loves us, so he still loves us, so he don't want to kick us off. Not at least yet.
Eventually the sun will explode, so we will, at some point, if we survive that far into the future, we will not have much of a choice but to leave.
Clara says, well, he must have been a dumb time traveler because Trump makes some of the dumbest mistakes I've ever seen. But how do you know they're mistakes? Because it always seems to turn out to what he wants. It's like the guy the other day said they went through all these cases and all the stuff that Trump should be losing. It should just be one big masterful loss, and it's not. It's one big masterful win. How do you pull that off? I mean, he knows what he's doing, but I mean, if you've got a little pre-information, it never hurts. Why don't you ask us on Friday how much his family's made since he's been president?
Yeah, there's an article on Forbes that says how much his children have made since the presidencies.
Yeah. Trump himself has lost money. Yeah, he has.
Barron Trump, his son, is worth $150 million.
Yeah, that varies. The bank says $1.5 billion is what he's lost since he's been president. And remember, he don't take a salary either. He don't take his $440,000 a year salary. He gives it to somebody else. That's what, $1.6 million over 4 years. Nope, he just gives it to somebody else.
Or he used it for the great big ballroom.
No, they have other things they use it for, but as far as I know, the great big ballroom is paid for. I know there's a group, a historical group in DC trying to stop it, but I don't think they're gonna have any luck.
It's too late. Yeah, it's almost finished.
What do you mean, Jimmy? No, I know the completion date's in 2020. It'll be completed as he's leaving. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Well, all the demo's done. I think they're just setting the things up, letting everything sit before they generally have to put some test pylons in and stuff to make sure the ground can support X amount of weight. That's probably what they're doing right now. And letting it go to court. Yeah. Well, everybody keeps saying it's the people's house. No. The Congress is the people's house. The White House is the president's house. That's his place to live. It's just like any rental property on the planet. That's his place to live. Yes. And since he's the commander in chief of the government, he can say when he wants to do renovations. Besides that, trying to stop him makes you look like a hypocrite because every president before him has made renovations. Barack put a basketball court in. Think about it, guys. Barack put a basketball court in for $375 million. Trump's putting in a ballroom that can hold 1,000 people for the same price. It's dishes, everything. And he put a basketball court in for more than that you had to pay for, people. He
actually had to dig up the tennis court that was there. There was 2 tennis courts. He had to dig one of them up to make the basketball court.
And part of one of the gardens. And then he went and planted another garden, which just was a joke for ungodly amount of money. Yes, that's what we're saying. But we'll get into all on that on Fridays. Yeah, we'll
that's a Friday topic.
It's and we're going to probably talk a little bit more about John G. Trump because, I mean, the thing about it is, I mean, he's the guy. I mean, he is the missing link.
the Buckaroo Banzai of his day. I mean,
he's
scientist, rocket scientist, engineer.
No, Jesse, he is the missing link. He's dead now. It's a shame, but
yeah, imagine what he could tell us right now.
He did. If I remember right, he did have kids. I didn't look to see who his kids are or what they're affiliated with or where, but I do remember reading his kids.
Still up here? No, I don't. No, I gotta go back a page. Let's see. Education. They're still asking for money.
The giant Tesla.
Children, 3. Doesn't say their names, but he had 3 children.
There y'all go. 3 monsters. So both John Trump and his older brother Fred Trump, they joined their family's real estate firm. So they were hoping that mom was hoping Fred would build them and John would design them. I don't think it went that way there. Joy enrolled at the Brooklyn some institute down here. I just lost it. Let's see, their brothers worked together for a while, but due to philosophy differences, which makes total sense, Fred preferred to sell units as they were planned. John thought they should only sell ones constructed by the end of his freshman year. They said they finally just split up. No real hard feelings. They just, weren't meant to work together. Trump graduated in 1929 with a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. While teaching electrical engineering at his alma mater, he earned master's degree in physics, not hard, at Columbia University.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it sounds like he was constantly in school.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's not like he graduated and went right back into teaching.
Yeah. Looks like he was at MIT for a while before they formed, like 2 years before they formed that other group. Yes, guys, this is the smoking gun. He's the smoking gun. So y'all need to get out there and dig up anything you can get on. I mean, I got lots of stuff sent to me. I haven't even read most of what's been sent to me about it. But how Tesla and Nikolay and Donald Trump are all connected. We ain't got enough time for that. But maybe next time we'll do a show, we'll play it. It's 10 minutes. Trump's Tesla car commercial at White House. No, we ain't playing that. How President Trump is connected to Tesla and Nikolay. Oh, well, I guess we'll see about that on another day, too. Well, it's great y'all send links in, but you got to send them in before 6 minutes to the end of the show.
Yeah. It's a 2-hour show, and we're at the end of it now. Where were we at? 1:43, so we only got about 10 minutes.
Hey, what's that, Carrie? Well, we know that John J. Trump looked at the files. There's not an ifs, ands, or buts about that. He was in control of them. He decided who was going where and where was going who. As far as I know, there was no real camaraderie between the two of them, but I'm sure they were both aware of each other because of the fields they worked in.
I would be surprised that they didn't at least meet in one or two social events
Yeah,
or some sort of scientific events. I'm sure that they've at least run across each other.
Tesla, the master of lightning, the missing papers. They say the research company still has them. The agency that took them still has them.
Still has those 20 cases that Tesla went missing from?
They said they still have all the documents.
Wow.
Pretty much sounds like John G. Trump just said, yeah, we have those documents. They're not to be released to the public. You know, there was rumors in some of his documents that he had made contact with a particular extraterrestrial group and had regular contact. So any of that mixed in with all of that, you know, that would have been kept, whether it was true or not.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dr. John Trump or on Nikolay Tesla. Donald Trump's uncle. Taken from the Eye of the Storm documentary. Yeah, we can come do some stuff on that, guys, and watch and get a little bit, go down the rabbit hole a little bit deeper. But y'all might not like what we find. Oh, yeah.
It definitely sounds like he was into some very sketchy stuff.
No, Nikolay wasn't born in the United States. He wasn't a natural born.
He was born in Romania or something like that.
Was up here somewhere. Born July 10th, 1856. Samaji, I can't.
Croatia.
Is it Croatia? Yeah, it is Croatia.
Croatia.
Eyes in there. 6'2", another tall guy. Never did say how tall the other guy was, John G. Trump. I'm kind of interested in that.
Hey Google, how tall was John G. Trump, President Trump's uncle?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Of course.
Of course you don't, because you're a dumb bitch.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You don't like being cussed, huh? Let's see. Education, Gray's University of Technology, Gray's University Technology, Charles University, Electric Light and Manufacturing. Oh, founded his own company. Yeah, I remember that. Important work. Missile tech out of genius who lit the world before Tesla returned. Yeah, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't notice, without Tesla, we wouldn't have the type of electricity we have today.
Yeah.
We'd be in some junky crap that Edison thought was going to change the world. I think that's the first time Nikola realized the world wasn't what he thought it was when Edison screwed him over. Donnie, Edison had agreed. So Nikola had showed him where DC power sucked, and then we needed to go with AC. And Tesla had developed the AC setup and was going to give it to Edison, and Edison was supposed to give him a big bunch of money and recognition, which of course never came.
Yeah, he stole it, basically.
Well, he was eccentric. He wasn't crazy, Jack. A lot of high IQ people are eccentric. It's just the way their brain fires. What do you mean? Well, I know it from interviewing, but I know it from more than that too. I'm a member of a club where there's a lot of these so-called brilliant people. Oh, I am a member of Who's. Well, you see my name? Yes, I am a member. Oh God, like 2018 or 2015, they approached me and said, "How would you like to be?" It would be like the Explorer Club from back in the day. That's its equivalent. Yeah, it's the Who's. You got to be invited. Yeah, it costs money to get in too. It's the Who's Marquee or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been a member about 10 years, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, Men's is invite only. They invite you to take a test, and if you pass it, you're in.
Yeah. I took Men's test when I was 19. It was kind of funny too. I had taken a Navy ASVAB test. The first one I scored like a 63 on, right? It's like not even good enough to get in the service. And I was drunk as hell the day before. But anyway, when I decided I was going to join, I went and took the ASVAB test. And when I came back, I had scored a 98, which gave me access to pretty much anything in the Navy I wanted. And the guy's like, Mensa would like to test you. And I was like, why? He said, because of your score. He said they had asked us, anybody who scores over this particular score, if you would let them know. And I said, sure, I'll take the test. You tell you what. So they send you this little pre-test, which you think, oh, this is nothing. You go through a couple hours, you're done. Oh, that ain't the real test. Unless they've changed it to real test. I don't know, it's 8 hours or 10 hours or something. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's an all-day thing.
And there's stupid stuff on it like how many C's, how many O's. They like to put things together. How do you fold a box? I've had the how do you fold a box thing so many times. I think it's just in my head now. Well, yeah, they lay out a box flat and then you fold it together on a virtual.
Yeah, they want to test your problem-solving, reasoning skills.
I would imagine the way they do it now is much more based on electronics than it was back then. But no, I scored really good. Yeah. I joined and stayed with him for. Technically, I'm still there because they don't never let you technically leave, even though I don't pay dues or anything anymore. I'm like, nope. That's classified. Navy said my IQ is classified. No, Mensa could care less if I talked about it. No, Navy says classified. Some ungodly thing of 5,500 or something. They're like, by the way, so you know this, people, having an IQ does not necessarily mean you're going to be rich. Matter of fact, in a lot of cases, it almost guarantees you're not going to be rich.
Lack of success, yeah. Because
your brain works so differently. Sometimes it's hard to put it into the real world. And a lot of times your brain is working too far ahead for people their brains are working like only one step ahead of you. And you're trying to be 10 steps ahead of them, which you can't be because humans are too inconsistent in the way they do things. I know a lot of people who I think they take 141 and over, if I remember right. It may have changed, but I think that's what it was back in the day, was 141. And I scored, my overall IQ was one thing, and then I scored gifted in math and science. I don't know why, because math sucks, but still. It's kind of funny. All it guarantees you is that you're going to think more abstractly, and a lot of times you may come to conclusions faster. But it doesn't mean you're going to be wealthy. It doesn't even mean you're going to be nice. It means you have the extra abilities, basically. And if you learn how to use them, the best thing I can tell anybody with a high IQ is go somewhere that helps you to develop it. Because you never know if it's an overall high IQ, if it's in a particular subject matter. Well, true geniuses usually have a higher IQ than 150 in everything. Well, they say whatever. Americans average between 185 and 120. I think we're supposed to be around 20 on average, but 110 maybe, but still. But there's a whole group of people out there that's defying those expectations. Yeah, because we're growing. And having to keep up with our own technology makes us smarter. Okay, let me rephrase that. Some ways it makes us smarter, some ways it makes us dumber. Because I done forgot how to drive. I mean, not drive, but directions. I could take you anywhere across the entire southern part of the country without even thinking about it. But I've gotten so used to going, Google, take me here. Or right now I'm using CarQuest or whoever it is. But, take me here, take me there. And it takes you there. Every now and then it takes you like, some backwoods place. You got to be real careful. But most of the time it does what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I could take you anywhere throughout DC and the Montgomery County area without, I could be blindfolded and drive you there and back. But now with these GPS, it's like, take me somewhere, and you really have to be careful, because I said, hey, Google, take me to a fast food place in Waynesboro, and it said, okay, turn left and get on the highway, and it's like, and I looked at the time, 2 hours and 248 miles. I'm like, it was trying to take me to Waynesboro, Virginia.
Yeah, they do like to do
300 miles away.
They do love to do stuff like that. No, we got to go, Kim. But no, we'll touch on a little bit more on Friday. But Friday's really more about news, and there's quite a bit of news to talk about. Well, I keep seeing these up and down poll numbers for Trump. He's either up or he's down, depending on who you look. NBC has him down, but they have him down at 42.
He's staying steady right around 43, though. They're mentioning that earlier today.
Well, so when it comes to Trump, if it's 43, it means it's 48 or even 50. So no polling yet for any group for Trump has polled more than 5%. Have gotten closer than 5%. All you have to do is go back and look at, and this is the best part now. I got to listen to this the other night. So if you go back and listen to the polls doing both parts of the election, you can go listen to Jay and I doing the polls, but more importantly, go listen to ABC, NBC, Routers, Reuters, a whole bunch of them, and just go listen to how they do their polls. And then listen the day after the election when they're having to admit Trump was ahead by 7 or 8%. In a lot of places, he was supposed to be back by 5. That means they were off by 13%. That's outrageous. There's not even an excuse for that. And even when
it's not a mistake, it's on purpose. So they're padding the numbers. We've always talked about that.
So we poll along, and if APC's polling numbers are around the same as this, then I'll talk with Jay and we'll just usually stick along those lines, because I've been having American Polling Company for a while, and anytime I get aggravated, I'll put up a poll on Facebook or anywhere for that matter. And when it gets to 15,000, I'll pull it, unless it's one of them fast growing polls. Because sometimes we'll put something out of a particular thing and it just takes off. I don't put them on you know what, Johnny? I'm sorry, I don't really post them on the APC page anymore. Maybe I should. Well, not YouTube. Facebook had gotten weird about doing polls. They made it all complicated and shit. You know what? I haven't checked lately, but I'll check and see if they are. We'll put them back on there too. I would rather have them on there. Well, generally, I put them on there, and then I'll put them on the home page, and I'll put them on some of our other social pages, and then I'll pass them around to some of the networks I know, and they'll pass them around. So after a while, about 4 or 5 days, they're usually out to about 1,000, 1,500 people, companies, and then they pull them out and see what happens. Well, you know what, dude? We used to do in-house polling, which means we'd pay somebody in 15 states to go out to a mall and sit there all day and poll people. The problem is we found that, just like a good friend of mine told me from ABC, pollsters lie. Sometimes they don't even go out. They go sit at their home and they go through the phone book and they just take people's names and phone numbers out and puts them on there. And they say if they said blue or red. So if you've got somebody who's pro-red or pro-blue, your poll's going to be that way. So now they told me they send out a supervisor anytime they do that, somebody to oversee what's going on. But that doesn't guarantee the supervisor's not red or blue. So that's a problem. We don't have that integrity. That's why I just do it the way we do it. And I ask everybody to put on their poll what's their political affiliation. And they write it in there, or they click it on there, and we know. And I find listening to people don't want to lie, but that's just they're straight, simple polls, and you can get them. But we got to go, so we're going to get out of Michelle's on tonight. I think she said she had Satan on tonight. Is that who she said? Ooh. She had? No.
He's back on again?
Yeah, something about he didn't get to do something last time. I don't know. And no,
is he still griping about that silly fiddle?
No, Stephanie, I'm teasing. We don't really know who's on her show now. It's
I'm trying to see if I can get it before we close out here. Outer Realms.
Well, we run over sometimes by 10 minutes.
Sasquatch Legacy with Jason Hewlett.
Ooh,
he's awesome. We had him on the other night, a couple nights ago on Church of Mavis.
So we got some squashy stuff going on. Ain't nothing wrong with some squash. A little butternut squash with some nutmeg.
Sunburst squash. You boil it up right, it tastes just like mashed potatoes.
Yeah. They got some good squash. Just like you gross people. They got some good squash out there, dude. Well, one of the easiest ones to cook is a yellow squash. You just slice it up, throw some butter and garlic, and go. Let it heat up a little bit. Yeah, it's good stuff. Sissy. You're a sissy. That's what you are. Don't make us get on the P word like we had to the other day. Yeah, we had to use the P word. I'm sorry. There were some people who just fell into the P word that night. It's not our fault. We didn't make them the P word. No, we did not. But anyway, now that most of y'all are going, what the hell's the P word mean? We're going to get out of here. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio and UFO Undercover. I hope you enjoyed the show. Really, I do. And if you do have a moan-groan bitch or gripe, please feel free to write to Michelle DeRoche, courtesy Michelle DeRoche at United Public Radio, and tell her, hey, these guys are bad. And she'll go, oh, good, they're doing their job.
Yep.
I'm just kidding.
But
if you do have a bitch, that is. Yeah, but if you do really have a bitch, that is the person to write to legitly. Yes. On that note, good night and stay tuned for the Outer Realm in less than 1 minute. Good night, everybody.